What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are back with episode 5 of Mod Review. Today we are actually going to be covering 3 different mods for the first time in this series. Usually it's just the one mod and maybe a few additional mods or side mods, but today there are actually 3 focus mods as they are all much smaller and there's not too much to go over for each, so I thought I'd bunch them into one episode. The mods we're going to be covering today are the Sabine Wren mod by TyranEauZooRusseRex, Squadron's Hera Syndulla by ZengerFake, and the Chopper mod by LeBoZ, all of which are obviously Rebels related, which is why I thought I'd throw them into this same episode. Now, as always in these mod reviews, I'm going to be going through 5 different sections, with those being detail, functionality, additional mods if there are any, then I'll give my score for the review as a whole, and then lastly, if it is applicable, I'll touch on any improvements or additions that would be great to see as well. I'm going to cover each mod all at once throughout those 5 sections, rather than doing them individually, just essentially to save a little bit of time. But anyway, guys, with that out of the way, let's get stuck right into this review. Now, starting off with the Sabine mod, this one is honestly so well detailed and it's actually more in depth than I initially thought. This mod, along with all of the mods in this episode, replace one of the characters in the game, completely changing everything except for their ability set. As you can see, the Sabine mod does replace Sabine with Leia, so she has the exact same abilities that Leia does, which don't necessarily suit her 100%, but out of all the heroes, I'd probably say that Leia was the closest to Sabine in terms of having the right abilities. Now, Sabine actually comes with 5 different skins, which is what I meant when I said I didn't realize how detailed it was, and not only that, but it actually replaces all of Leia's star cards and even her blaster as well, although I believe the sound is the only thing that's changed. The stats and all that are still the same. It even changes Leia's voice lines to some of Sabine's voice lines, which is not always the case with mods like this.
I'm Sabine Wren, pride of Mandalore and a whole lot more.
All of her skins are really solid as far as I'm concerned. She looks just as good as you'd expect her to, and there's nothing bad or low quality that really stands out in regards to the design or the detail overall. Moving on, we have the Hera Syndulla mod, and as far as I know, which the name kind of makes it sound obvious, this skin is essentially just ported over, or at least used in some way, from the assets in Star Wars Squadrons. Hera has the option to actually replace either Han or Leia depending on which you'd prefer. As you can tell in the gameplay, I did replace Han, however, you could do the exact same thing as Sabine if you prefer to have Leia's ability, so having that option is a really solid addition. If there's one thing that I find to not be 100% when it comes to this mod, it's mostly the look of her face and some animations when she talks, as like you can see, it's definitely not 100% clean, but overall it's barely enough to really notice. Now, lastly, we have the Chopper mod, which replaces BB-8 with Chopper, yet again giving new emotes and voice lines using some of Chopper's from Star Wars Rebels. This mod actually comes with 4 different skins as well, being his regular appearance that we see throughout the show, as well as his cargo paint skin, his Imperial skin, and an Imperial communications skin as well. Chopper looks and sounds really solid overall. The only issue I have is just his movement, as obviously using BB-8 as the template makes for some rather odd animations considering he's a little ball that spins. So some animations do look a little bit off, but again, it's hardly enough to really have a large effect on the mod, and frankly, I think it's just pretty awesome to see some other droids being available for use. Overall, the detail of all 3 of these mods are absolutely amazing. None of them really have anything that stands out as a glaring issue, and so they all score some solid points in that department. When it comes to the functionality, as in how well these mods work, whether there are any issues or anything like that, I honestly did not find any genuine issues with any of them. If I had to pick something, it would honestly just be what I mentioned about all of them. Just the small, insignificant animations and stuff like that. For example, Hera's Leku is completely static, and Chopper does have some funny movements and stuff like that, but these mods aren't really trying to completely replace characters in the game with brand new ones. They all clearly mention that they're essentially just appearance replacements more than anything, so they don't really lose points when it comes to small issues like those. Now, for the first time in this series, a point is actually kind of gained in this area in the fact that all 3 of these are actually multiplayer compatible, so you can equip these and play online against real players if you want, and to me that is a very solid aspect of their functionality that does not deserve to go unnoticed. As a quick disclaimer, I will just say that I have known multiple people that use multiplayer safe mods, and then at some point they did actually get banned. It's hard to tell whether it was from those mods or not, and not all of them were permanent, but it did still happen, and so for me personally, I just never use mods online just because I'd rather not risk it. So just keep that in mind, although it does clearly mention on the Nexus pages that these are all multiplayer safe. Overall, all 3 of the mods functioned exactly as I expected them to. They're definitely not perfect, but they're also not really trying to be. Now, as far as additional mods go, there really aren't any that I could find, and so it is time to give a score for these 3 mods individually. For the Sabine mod, it looks and sounds amazing. She does work pretty well with Leia's ability set, and there wasn't really anything at all that I could see being an issue in terms of the functionality. I am giving the Sabine Wren mod created by TyranEauZooRusseRex an overall score of 3.9 out of 5. For the Hera Syndulla mod, it also looks and sounds amazing. The ability to choose who you replace is great, and aside from a few animation related issues, it performs exactly as you'd expect it to. I am giving the Hera Syndulla mod created by ZengerFake an overall score of 3.6 out of 5. Lastly, for the Chopper mod, he looks great and has some awesome little voice lines as well. The addition of skins definitely increases the score overall, and if you can look past the sort of funny rolling animations and all that, then it is definitely a very high quality overall. I'm giving the Chopper mod created by LeBoZ an overall score of 3.5 out of 5. Now, there is obviously so much subjectivity involved in scoring these mods, so let me know down in the comments what you guys would rate the mods overall. Obviously, it's a little bit harder without having played them yourself, but from what you've seen in the video, let me know what you guys would give this mod out of 5. Now, lastly, moving on to just some quick improvements I'd love to see, and honestly, there wasn't anything that's very realistic that I could think of. Any changes I'd like to see, for example, maybe Sabine having a jetpack, would just mess with the heroes and their abilities, which would then remove the ability to use them safely online. And so, to me, it's not even worth losing that just for them to look or perform a little bit nicer. And so for the first time, I'm actually going to say that I don't think there's really anything that needs improving, but let me know down below if there is anything that you guys can think of. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the mod review series, and if you did, then be sure to go and check out some of the latest episodes, with the last one covering an awesome Darth Talon mod for Jedi Fallen Order. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Crush them! Make them suffer!